Hi guys, thank you for stopping by to share with Julie today. I hope you're having a fantabulous day today. In this video, I'm touching on vitamin B12. Sarah had asked about vitamin D and B12, and I said I'd do a video on both. I did one on D, so check that out, guys. And now I'm looking at B12. So the first thing is that, there is a lot of talk now that everybody needs to, of course, be supplementing with vitamin B12. Even people who never thought of supplementing before are now saying, we need vitamin B12. Everyone needs to be supplementing B12, unless of course maybe you're a meat eater, and which is kind of ironic since a lot of meat eaters are actually vitamin B12 deficient. But we'll get to that. So animals, where does B12 come from? B12 come from the bacteria in the soil. It's the bacteria in the soil that that makes the B12. The bacteria, not the animal that makes it. And we do not make it. Humans don't make it. Animals don't make it. The bacteria are the one who make the B12. So that's the second thing to look, the first thing to look at. And the second thing is that, how are the tests done? People go by blood serum level. But I think in all reasonableness, I think most meat eaters would have a higher blood serum level of vitamin B12 than non-meat eaters. That's the second thing. And vitamin B12, the third thing is that vitamin B12 is stored in the body for years and years and years, And so the likelihood that, and we need only a small bit at a time. We need only a small bit at a time. So therefore, I think the likelihood that most people will not have enough B12 is kind of low, to be honest. And another thing I think people should take into consideration, and this is the biggest of them all, and it concerns issues with the gastrointestinal tract. Because let's look at it. How does the body deal with vitamin B12? Vitamin B12 is attached to the protein in the food that we eat. When you eat the food, the hydrochloric acid in the stomach breaks apart the protein and the B12, and the B12 is then attached to another protein in the stomach called intrinsic factor. And when the B12 combined with the intrinsic factor, that's how it is now able to absorb into the body when it reaches the intestine. So we see that if it's an issue where one is not digesting the foods properly, one is not able to digest the foods, you could have problems. And so if you're not chewing properly, if you are eating foods that are messing up your gastrointestinal tract, you will likely have problems. And also, if you're not producing enough hydrochloric acid, that could also be an issue. And that is why a lot of older people have B12, supposedly B12 deficiency, because they tend to have, the older you get, the less stomach acid, one usually has. So that is also something to look at. And so we have to look at, and the fact too is that some people actually aren't able to produce intrinsic factor. They have what is called pernicious anemia, which is another problem that would result if we've got issues with our gastrointestinal tract. So I will say this: don't consider yourself deficient in anything until you have fixed the issue of digestion. You're doing what is necessary to properly digest your food, including chewing, right food combination, not drinking and eating at the same time, things like these. And if you're eating not a lot of processed foods, or things that will weaken, you're not consuming things that will weaken stomach acid. Those are things that, we have to consider, where the whole absorption of vitamin B12. And I think maybe it's such an issue now because many of us have not necessarily B12 issues. What we have are gut issues that we need to address. And I am not saying that vitamin B12 deficiency is not a serious issue. It is a serious issue, because of the role that vitamin B12 plays, in terms of its role as it pertains to DNA, neurological issues. These are some serious things to consider. But I will say this: even if you take a lot of B12 supplements, if you are not able to digest it, to absorb it, to utilize it, what sense does it make? So from my perspective, the supplementation is a band-aid approach. Just get you know what, I'm deficient, so let me get a bottle of this B12 and fix the issue. And some people will say, okay, I'm not telling anybody not to take B12. It's my choice not to take it. I don't wish to, because I feel that you know what, I need to do more to fix my body, and that's the approach that I take, and I am comfortable with that approach. So I'm not telling anybody to not take it. So don't say I say don't take it. What I am saying is that when we address issues to do with our bodies, when our bodies are working correctly, it is highly unlikely that we will have deficiency if we are eating the right types of foods. That is what I am saying. And there are people who have been told that they are deficient in one vitamin or one mineral or another. And some of these people go on a dry fast, a water fast. They are not water fast, you're just taking in water. Dry fast, you're not taking in anything. Don't play with the dry fast too much. And at the end of maybe 10 days, 20 days, 21 days dry water fast, 30 days water fast, or and so forth, they are no longer deficient. Why? Why? Why would someone, before they go on a water fast where they're taking in nothing, at the end of, say, a 28-day period, they're not deficient? Why? It simply means that the body had what it needed, but it wasn't able to absorb or utilize it. But in the process of the fast, where the body can restore and heal, then the body is now able to utilize these nutrients. So and this is why I am stressing this, because today it's vitamin B12, tomorrow it's something else, yesterday it was vitamin D, and now look at what they are realizing about vitamin D, that the supplements aren't this great thing that they made them out to be. So that is my take on it. And some of the things that you can do is, get a garden. If you've got yard space, create your own garden. Even if it's a small space, grow a few, easy to grow vegetables and herbs, and, take them from the earth, use them like that, do minimal washing, throw them in your salad, and mix up something, throw it in your blender. You don't have to get all the dirt off. You want some of that B12, live and direct. You want some of that B12. Or you can get pots on your counter that you can grow certain items, and of course you make sure you get good soil, you get proper soil. Use well-crafted foods, or foods that are or foods that are organically grown. Use these things. Don't, because with these foods you don't have to wash them as much. Can leave some of the bacteria on it. So that these are some things to look at. Your sea vegetables. Oh gosh, just get some well-crafted sea moss and bladder rock and other sea vegetables. Use these things. That's what I'll say. I think that's it for now on vitamin B12. But anything, once you're deficient in anything, just remember that taking a supplement will not fix the issue. The body works in synergy, homeostasis. The more of one thing we take in sometimes negatively affect us in different ways. And sometimes we are taking in these things and yet still the body can't utilize them. So those are some things to consider. Fix your gut, fix your GI tract. Always, whatever you do, always make that be the main focus of your healing point. Fix the GI tract. And then when you fix your GI tract, then you can examine issues of deficiencies. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this useful. Subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. Don't forget, be the change you'd like to see in this world. Have a fantabulous day today. Ta-ta.